all the called
When I got a record back in those days, say I got a record by Benny Goodman, I probably had like 3 records, so you play them over and over and over, and I could sing the trumpet part, the alto part, the drum part, the bass part, because you keep on playing them over and over and over. You know?
I should ask you too about playing at Salisbury Beach.
Oh yes. Well, this one I was in high school. I was probably a senior in high school. There was a club called the Hotel Edwards, and the name of it was down below the hotel, so they called it the Dugout, right? And the nickname, as Herbie Pomeroy knew, was the Bucket of Blood, you know, because most of the personnel there were like servicemen, and on leave from Portsmouth Naval Base and blah, 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 blah. So there was a lot of drinking going on, and you couldn't buy a bottle of beer in a club. You had to buy a quart. You had to buy a quart of beer, right? Mm-hmm. And so therefore, like, when a fight broke out, quarts of beer were flying across the room, not beer bottles, but quart bottles of beer were flying across the room, you know. That's why they call it the Bucket of Blood, you know. Wow. And they had a light switch for the sign, so they had a thing with the cops that almost every night there'd be a fight. So they just clicked the light switch off and on, and the state cops would come. That would be the signal, you know, and break up the fight. Right? The men's room was right next door, and we used to just run until the fight was over. Then we come back and stuff. It was nothing. It was like every night occurrence. So you didn't say, "Oh, gee, a fight broke out." You know, it would be weird if it didn't break out. But it was great training, though, because like Herb Pomeroy, who was my idol in music, always was, always will be. I got a chance to play with him down there. Some good musicians, you know, because it was the only place you could play jazz. You know, they had other clubs with more commercial, you know, music of the day and stuff like that. But the only place you could play jazz was in these dives, really. You know. There was always a jam session someplace. At the Polish Club, when I was a boy, on Sunday afternoons they had a jam session at the Polish Club. And it was a place you could go and sit in. Shannon's, a little dive in Salisbury, which is gone now, so I can call it a dive. Like Phil Wilson and Herb and a lot of guys from UNH, Paul Ferret, you know, good players, you know. And you learn your trade that way. You learn your trade that way. I can remember when I first started playing at Shannon's, and I didn't know all the tunes. And then I was just only in high school too at the time. And I used to ask to sit in, you know, and they used to say, "Do you know the tune?" I said, "Oh, sure, I know." I didn't know the tune. "Oh, yeah, I know the tune." And luckily I had a good sense of smell, you know. So even though I didn't know the tune, like I could get through it, you know. But that's how you learned. Like you dove in, and you played with people better than you were. And by playing with people better than with you, naturally you're going to get better by playing somebody who's better than you are.